All right, so couple things to think about. Main thing to think about when you're in the guard is, we talked about this last week, don't just hold on with your legs. You need to be disrupting all of the time, because that's where all your opportunities are going to come from. If this person knows how to defend and mount, I'm not going to land any submissions if they're playing it safe and keeping their arms in and working their posture. So I want to think about how I disrupt. So a couple things we look at are arm pulls. So we'll look at this like we did last week to get for the line for the back take or the arm bar. I'll look at closing the gap. So if he moves his hand to my leg to try and work his pass, I'm going to start coming up. So if we change sides on that, if he's coming here, I'm coming up. So this is not just to go for the sweep, which we'll look at in a second, but also to come in and start threatening chokes. When I have control of the collar, again, I'm not always working the submission. If that's one-dimensional, it's pretty easy to counter. But if I'm using this to push and pull, it's a really useful disruption tool as well. So I'm thinking about moments like this, where he's had to catch himself, and now I've got a great opportunity to work one of my submissions. You're not expending a lot of energy. All of this should be on relatively undefended targets. So if he's holding me down here, I'm not trying to sit up through that. I'm looking for where the fight isn't, and then I can start looking for my attacks from there. I can also think about how I'm going to interfere with his movement as he's passing. So if he's trying to posture up at all, I want to load his hips with my weight. So a little Jean-Jacques Machado thing there. If I'm here, my hips are on the ground. When he wants to stand up, he can do that at will. If I go like this and I start to load my weight into his hips, it becomes harder for him to do that. Even if he's getting up, I can start working to a lower position on his legs, so I can make it harder for him to lift those. If he gets all the way up to his knees, I can come down here, and again, now make it difficult for him to stand up. So I'm giving this inward pressure here, I have disruption force on his hips. So just a few principles that we'll go over some more in class. Again, if we boil them down to tactical things we can think about, go wherever the pressure isn't. So if he's pushing here, I'll attack here. If he's going to break my guard, I look for my chance to sit up. If he's posturing up, I load his hips. Or if he's starting to come up to the knees, I load his hips. If he gets all the way up to his knees, this is no longer useful for me. I'll start thinking about what pressure and control on the leg, and working for disruption. Here, so just some ideas that work really well.